Hello, hello, how's everybody doing out there? Talking shit, that's right, talking shit. On Tuesdays, every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel, we talk some shit for about an hour and a half when it comes to the automotive community. When it comes to Ford, mostly, this is mostly a Ford-based channel, but we once in a while delve into the LS, LT stuff with Alec Bledsoe, Rami Zaidan, and all people like that. So on today's program, I'm going to kind of give you a window into what tuners and calibrators do most of the time. So most of the time, we educate the public. If I spend 8 hours a day tuning, I spend probably 6 hours or 5 hours a day educating, talking, answering questions, as opposed to tuning. If I actually spent 8 hours tuning, I probably would have gotten 100 or 120 tunes done. If I don't ever have to reply to somebody and answer questions, stuff like that, I can get a lot done. But the problem, and I'll talk about that after the intro, is that regardless if you have the recipe in front of you and you've done it a million times, people still want to do it their way. Like if I wanted to go sixes today, I'm going to seek out a group of people that have gone sixes with a vetted combo. And I would say, I want that combo in my car. But in the Coyote world, and maybe in the LSLT world, and small block Ford, small block Chevy world, which is probably LS too, you see people try to reinvent the wheel when it's been invented. It's been rolled. It's been under a car. It has been in service for hundreds of years. But people, for whatever reason, try to reinvent the wheel. And I'll give you a great example of a famous person that, because of their sponsorship, is taking an unconventional route and hoping it works. Meanwhile, the utmost experts in that field are saying, I think you're going to have issues. I would do it a certain way. But if you want to have growing pains, vaya con Dios. We'll talk about it, but not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly. Say hello to the people here.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
It always sucks. So we'll talk about it as always. That's right. Rami Zaidan, Toyota Solutions. Rami Zaidan in Puerto Rico did a half-mile event last weekend. Didn't know how it went. I haven't heard a goddamn thing. So we probably blew every car up to Auto Solutions. Race Motive, racemotive.com, Race Motive Instagram, Race Motive in Russia. Check them out. Coming to a Moscow airport near you. D&H Performance, D&Hperformance.com. D&H Performance, the best and only online parts house this channel supports. Check them out. D&H Performance, injectors, tires, whatever. Cold airs. Check them out. Partsfarm.com. If you want to buy a pull-out motor, rear end, odds and ends, Coyote shit, some Trackhawks, some Hellcat stuff, and some Camaro stuff, check them out. Partsfarm.com. They got everything and anything you need for a Coyote swap and other bullshit needs. Conformance.com, Conformance on Instagram, providing blower lids, blowers, export 2650s, throttle bodies, cold airs, you name it. He's got it going on. UltimateHeader.com, Ultimate on Instagram. PMAS, Nick James and PMAS, he's at PRI. Check him out on his booth. I don't know where the fuck the booth's located, but just check him out. Caliber Transmission, CaliberTransmission.com. By the way, if you need your transmission put in, Caliber Transmission is also now providing a service where you drop off the car. He takes a trans off, rebuilds it to whatever spec you want. You want a PPG gear set? He's got you. You want billet this? He's got you. You want billet forks? You want a stage 2? You want a stage 3? You want a Vengeance clutch? Hit him up. And please, if you do hit him up, tell them I sent you. If you say, hey, I heard about you from Alex's show, I typed in Caliber Transmission on Instagram, hit you guys up, went to your shop, dropped off my car, picked it up with a badass transmission, clutch installed in-house, great service, CaliberTransmission.com. Let's add to the people here, and we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll get with the people. 2000 MCR, Joe Swish, I'm Hung Solo, Travis, Sam Morales, Corey Seward, Darren Harper, D's Nuts, Paul Ponthio finally got pregnant, back to coma, Anthony Boxy, Luxury, oh my God, Paul Ponthio again. Diego, Paul Ponthio, Bondo Bird, missing third as we speak, Michael, Rodriguez, Gallo Bravo, Shipbox, Fox, T-Rex, Fox again, Dustin Garrison, Matt 2011 GT, what's up, brother, Mr. Mod? Mercury Motorsports, 2JZ Fox Body, Monty 540, Corey Seward, TJ Sikorsky, Mondoza Coyote, Michael again, J-Rock Begelos, are you in here? Robo Style, Brian 03, Cobras, J-Rock, Braden, Nate, Michael Oreno, Pito, Chiquito, Alec Gutierrez, Zach Zanders, Gregory Upvich, and Corey Stewart again, D-Rock Fox, Granny Macchiato but Liquor, Matt Oliver, Corsa Gaze, 9000 says good morning, Zach Redbird, Jared Wells, Ken Phillips, Andy Black Betty, Donkey Mac, Abdullah Al-Abasi, Josh, Nat Jew, Nick G, Johnny Boy Dixon, Matt 2011 GT, again, Matt Ivan D, Abdullah Al-Abasi, again, Reflex, All Things Booze, Pokey, sliding on the ops in the house, Douche Did It, Peter Chow, Mo Pubes, Mo Boost, Nardi Mercado, Carter's TV, Kona Blue, Mercury Motorsports, we got B. Lavesh, Bootlegger, Slash Raptor, Amir, Zahir, Child, John Lund, Alex gonna line up tomorrow, he claims me, what's he talking about? Yes, we are going testing tomorrow. Grey Goose with some sauce. Gonna go test. I'm taking the Notch. That's right, the Notch is gonna make a pass tomorrow morning. We'll see if I can get into the 10s NA. Check it out, because the GG500 is not ready. Mike Jones, who? Pure Performance, Alfredo Morales, Donovan Sims, B Lightning, Wolf, Ray Williams, 2SS, and JR10. Okay, so every single time you go on Facebook, Instagram, and you watch somebody run a number, and they are nice enough, or even a forum, let's say back in the day in the forums, SVT Performance, Corral.net, Stagnet.com, all the S197forums.com, all that shit. Let's say somebody ran a number that you're looking to run. I ran 9 stick, and you went, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And the guy lists everything he did, the tuning, the parts, the RPM launch. I mean, he's one of these meticulous guys that actually put down everything he did. He's not one of these secret keeping dudes. He wants to share his knowledge, his experience, and if anybody wants to build a 9-second combo, there it is. So you look at the list and you go, that's all it took? Wow, I want to do that. But I want to do it my way. Now you have entered the matrix of bullshit. And Senior is dropping his balls on the chat very early. Say, here you go. B&P in the morning. Boom. By the way, I owe you money. I owe you for the rental and I owe you for the drive shaft. So I owe you about $600. So thank you for the money. He's basically paying himself back. So you say, well, he did it with a Boss intake, but I want to do it with a Cobra Jet intake. But wait a minute. The guy just gave you the recipe. He did it with a stock throttle body, but I want to do it with the 85mm BBK throttle body. Hey, he did it with Ultimate Header, but I want to do it with Speed Daddy headers. He did it with 410s, but I want to do it with 331s. Now you are entering the matrix of bullshit. You are now hurting yourself achieve your goals. If you want to go 9s, stick, and someone lays out the recipe, do that. If I want to go 6s in the quarter mile, I either directly copy Senior setup if I want to do Coyote, directly copy Keith's setup if I want to do 5.4 4-valve, or directly copy Craig Walls' setup if I want to do it with a small block Ford. Why would I purposely beat my head in with a freaking hammer reinventing the wheel when someone has already done this? They've already done it. Danny Build says, when I tell people what it takes to run what I did all motor, they run. This is not for everyone. And Danny Built will give you the recipe. I think he's gone bottom 9s with an all motor setup. And it is big money. So when a customer comes to me on Patreon or on my ticket system at Lund Racing, and they have a goal in mind. Here's my goal. I go, I can write up any combo to run any number all the way down to high 6s. Stick, not really. I mean, unless you copy Joel Steele's car. Right? That's Joel Steele has the recipe to go 6s, stick, Ford platform. Copy that. So when I give out the information based on my tuning knowledge, based on my years of experience, based on my mechanical knowledge, and based on what I've done with my personal vehicles. And then the customer goes, what about a set of cams? And I go, wait a minute, when did I mention cams in this setup? Well, I really would like a set of custom cams from XXX. And then I go, I just gave you the recipe. I just told you what needs to happen. And you are now throwing a wrench into that process when I'm actually here to help you. I am here to help you achieve your goals. If you go fast, you look good, we look good, everybody wins, right? So I will give you an example. Guys, what's it take to run 9s in a 10R80 F-150? Go. Bottom 9s, 4-wheel drive, 10R80. Tell me what it takes to go based on what you've heard on this channel. What does it take to run bottom 9s in an F-150 Gen 3? If you want to do turbo, if you want to do Whipple, there are many configurations that we have done, whether it be 20 pounds of boost on a Whipple combo or 20 pounds of boost on 3 twin turbo or a crazy Pro Charger setup with an F-Series, all this crap. It has been done, repeated over and over and over. So, of course, your favorite street outlaw decided to build an F-150 with locked cams, and it looks to be a Gen 2 motor because of the infrastructure. It looks to be tuned by FuelTech. By the way, can anyone tell me how many FuelTech 10R80 cars have run a number? Anyone? And can anyone tell me how many FuelTech 10R80 cars have run a number? Okay, so Mr. Murder Nova got the truck on a trailer, and he showed it going in reverse. Didn't sound so crisp there. So Murder Nova post. Loaded and headed home to get cleaned up for PRI. Texas Speed Coyote with lock cams, controlled by FuelTech FT600. Built 10R80, controlled by FuelTech. Whipple's Gen 638 blower, ready to make all the boost. Aeromotive fuel system with a triple pump. Aeromotive fuel systems. Oh man, someone sponsored. And Ed Diaz was trying to help the guy. I'll say it right now. If you didn't get Lund's help, your shit won't run properly. Rest in peace, poor F-150, Murder Nova. Who isn't Murder Nova? I think somebody runs this page for him. I'll say it right now, and every time you post, you're an idiot. Not to take anything away from Lund, but how many championships and how many records were set with Lund's ECUs this year? Oh my God. Does anybody want to tell him that almost every Coyote record, stock computer, is held by Lund? Like, almost every single, I think the only one is not the NA bullshit, but almost every generation stock computer record, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, truck included, Gen 2, Gen 3, is held by Lund. But he puts a caveat, this year. How many were set with FuelTech? Oh, you mean big block 4.8 Noonans, 481X Pro lines, V8 pushrod bullshit with turbo 400s? Those? You're just making yourself look dumber and dumber with each comment. So then he says, I wouldn't say, I said, Murder Nova, this is me, Alejandro Flores. We won Haltech World Cup Street Fighter class beating Motec, FuelTech, Turbo, Nitrous cars with stock Gen 2 computer and a 6R80. I ask you, how many FuelTech cars ran a number with a 10R80 and how many Lund cars ran numbers with a 10R80? And he didn't answer the questions. He said, so one race? Yes. In one race where there was Motec, FuelTech, Holly, you name it cars, we beat all of them with a stock computer. And then I said, LOL, yes, beating everyone with said controllers. Let me ask you, how many FuelTech cars run numbers with a 10R80? I'll wait. John Lund Jr. says Alejandro Flores, LOL. When the FuelTech controlled 10R beats the stock ECU 10R record, then we'll pay attention. Sounds like it shifts real good into reverse, though. I said, laughing my ass off. What's the stock ECU 10R world record in reverse? Asking for a friend. Murder says LOL, and this is why we didn't come to you. You're good. Wasn't trying to take anything away from you. Actually, you were. You kind of threw some shade at us saying how many records y'all have, and we have almost every single one that matters. I just try to laugh. I just like to laugh at people that think that there's only one person in the universe that can tune an engine. John Lund says, or a trans. You forgot about the trans part. And of course, David Comstock, a.k.a. Daddy Dave, by the way, who is also sponsored by Fuel Tech, says, we know Fuel Tech will go above and beyond, make sure things will work properly. I know they haven't jumped off into the 10 or 80 trans yet, but know that they have your platform to work with. Watch them jump in with both feet. It'll be just fine. And this is the problem when people want to do something that no one has done before because they want that feather in their cap. Instead of saying, I want to know, yes, but they're not running a 10R boosted 5.0. They're not running a 10R. They're running a Turbo 400. In the Midnight truck, if I'm not mistaken, running Fuel Tech does not have a 10R. It has a 400. So Fuel Tech out the window. And this is the problem. The layman goes, look, an F-150 with Fuel Tech. It must be controlling the 10 or 80 fine. And it's not. So the problem is this. Someone that has never messed with a Coyote or a 10 or 80 and goes with a company that has never done it before. And let's say they fail. And I don't want them to fail. Please, if Fuel Tech can figure it out, that'd be great for Power by the Hour and anyone that sells and builds 10 or 80. So, if they go ahead and say, hey, this isn't working, are they going to blame Fuel Tech or are they going to blame the combo? They're going to blame the combo. They're not going to blame Fuel Tech. They're not going to say, well, it's not Fuel Tech's problem. Fuel Tech's fine. There is no issue with Fuel Tech. Fuel Tech, Billy Badass. Fuel Tech has all the records. Fuel Tech makes cars go threes. Yes, they do. Turbo 400 cars that have a big V8 running on M1, no variable, nothing. No drive-by-wire, nothing. An RPM trigger to shift the transmission, bada bing, and a turbo controller and two-step stuff. So, my issue is, I don't want someone that has that much influence dogging a combo that we know works. We know a 10R80 behind a Gen 3 F-150 with a stock computer, second gear leave, 20 pounds of boost, four-wheel drive will probably run a bottom 9 on the second or third revision with RCSB. So, Fuel Tech's not going to get blamed. Why? Right? Do you think Murder Nova, Sean, and David, what's it called? I forget his fucking name. It starts with a G. The car. Do you think they're gonna say, "Hey, Fuel Tech, thank you very much for trying to get this thing to run, but we're gonna stick a stock computer back in it and go with someone that has done it before, Lund"? No. And I've seen that, and that's the extreme example. Unfortunately, someone like that, I don't think, knowing that Fuel Tech doesn't have any data and nothing on 10R80 and Coyotes combined, unless they're piggybacking into the stock ECU, but you still have to tune the trans, you know what I'm saying? I think someone like that would never say to Fuel Tech, it's Fuel Tech's issue, not the combo's issue. They would never say that. I think they'd say, you sponsor us, you're going to give us Fuel Tech stuff for our future combos for as long as we live. We'll just stick a 400 in it. We'll just say the 10R80 sucks. By the way, the 10R80 does suck. But at your power level, which is about 1100, and a built Midnight Trans, that truck should go 870s, 880s with a stock computer, but whatever. So customers do this also. Customers will complicate your life. Customers will complicate your setup. Customers are going to want a twin turbo, a 14 GT500. Customers are going to want a twin turbo, a 2020 GT500. And I say, why? Yeah, Daddy Dave, thank you. I say, why? Why do you want a twin turbo, a 2020 GT500? You can make 1100 horsepower on the stock bottom end with the stock blower or a upgraded Whipple situation. Well, I want to go faster. It won't go faster. maybe in the half mile, but in the quarter mile, the DCT is the issue. Now, if you were a smart fella and listened to Lund and you were to say Alex, John, Brandon, Dakota, Devin, or Johnny, or Senior, I want my 2020 GT500 to run 8s consistently. What can we do about it? Stick a turbo 400 in it. Get rid of the DCT. And then they go, wait, what? But I saw this guy run 8s once. I saw that guy run 8s once. You said consistently. So again, if you're going to talk to somebody, a tuner, a calibrator, that has done this every day, 8 hours or 9 hours a day, for years, when he tells you something based on a question that you asked on a combo, listen to them. Same thing goes for the LS and LT world. If Alec Bledsoe is... I'm going to unplug this thing. Watch her talk. If Alec Bledsoe is dealing with a customer and he's speccing out an engine and the guy goes, well, I don't like what you're telling me. The dude just went 8.2 with a 1.7 blower. What you do is you shut up and you listen and do what he says because he has more experience. If someone in the rotary world, and I want to get into the rotary shit, and I see that he runs numbers, here's money, tell me what to buy. If someone in the 2JZ world that I know and trust and has run number, here's money, tell me what to get. But for some reason, a lot of people get in their own way and they wanna put their own little seasoning on a combo. When someone gives you the recipe, either bake that fucking cake or go away. Bake it the way you want. It's no different than cooking some. Hey, you know this cupcake is excellent. What did you do to make it taste so good? Well, this, and this. Well, what about some paprika in the bitch? Well, that's stupid because it's going to taste like paprika. But I like paprika. I hear this crazy stuff all the time. Alex, I want to stick a 3160 in my Coyote. Why? Well, it's a Tremec. Isn't it better? No. Wait a minute. Alex said that a Tremec 3160 is not better than a D4 MT82. What a moron. I've literally heard that. So, have you guys seen or know, or are you this person that no matter if the recipe is in front of you of how to make something, you still want to make it your own, to your own detriment, have hit walls, have beat your head in many times to try to make the combo work, and then you end up with the simplest combo that you should have started with. If you have a goal and you're asking someone like a Lund, someone like an Alex, someone like a Keith Ray, anyone in their prospective fields that are experts, how to go about going things, and you go against their recommendations, vaya con Dios. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about everything that's going on. We'll talk about if Fuel Tech can figure out the 10R80 stuff. Look, if Motec hasn't figured it out, and they have a great relationship and they got bought up by Bosch, I don't have any hope that Fuel Tech is able to figure out the 10R80 stuff. Look, there is no standalone aftermarket controller that can control a 6R80, let alone a 10R80. It's going to be a fun time. Murdanova don't know shit. She just hits a go button and runs a number. The best customers are the ones who are humble and trust you to say and build it as your own. The go-to pros and don't allow them to be pros, give them advice. Smoke, paprika, or get the fuck out. Stupid, says Honest Mike. They want to be unicorns, one of a kind. Look, I understand wanting to make the combo your own. I'm going to tell you the combo to make the Fairmont Go 7s. Are you ready? Stock bottom end, Gen 2 or Gen 3? Gen 2 heads. Stock cams with VCT. About 20 pounds of boost, maybe some 68, 72s or some shit like that. Let Senior build the kit. Senior, build the kit. I got the hot side stuff. You do the rest. Air to air, maybe some meth to cooling. 20 PSI, 3,200 pounds. 6R80 with a 4R200 hub. Two-step, bump, 373s in the back. It already went 8.5 with 20 pounds of boost on an E-Force 2650. So it'll go 7s with twins, 20 pounds of boost, and 32 or 3,300 pounds of the 4R200 with a better cage, a safer setup, a better suspension setup, just some weight removed from the car. That's the E85 triple pump ID 1300s or even 1700s. I might borrow some from the GT500 if I'm a cheap bastard, and be done and run a 7-second quarter mile in a fairly simple combo, because to go 770, 760, 750, 740, now you're dealing with built motor bullshit, and you just enter into a complete new world of absolute buffoonery, and it's not fun anymore. Stay in the low 8s, high 7s, and that's fun for years and years and years. And I could just buy 2 or 3 stock motors, have them on the shelf, and if Vaya con Dios happens, stick another one in it and live my fucking happy life. They ask questions but refuse the answer. Have any of the Street Outlaws won anything outside of the shows, racing outside of the rules? No. How many Street Outlaws won like a World Cup? Actually, didn't the guy with the GTR, the CEO, didn't he win? I don't know, his shit. But I don't consider him a street outlaw. I would consider Ryan, Daddy Dave, Sean, David Comstock, Big Chief has won. Hey, Big Chief has won no prep stuff like War in the Woods type stuff. Like, you know, I hate to say it, but one of the more accomplished guys that races outside of their program is probably, I'm saying the original Street Outlaws. You know, Chuck, the 2 gay guys that run the truck, Ryan, you know, all those guys. I think if anyone has run the most successful campaign outside of their show, is probably what's his name, Big Chief. I don't know this though. Frank DiMaggio says, if shit works and it's vetted, then what's the point of changing it? If you're changing it, it's for the clout. Alex, I need some choppity chop. Cams. You want to talk about cams? Cams is one of those subject matters that I guarantee most Coyote owners don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Thank you, Odom. That's right. I think he won his event. For whatever reason, people are stuck with the ideas that you need aftermarket cams to run a number. So sometimes they're just dead set. Hey, George Figueroa, happy birthday today. Happy birthday, George Figueroa. Turned 25. Man, good for you. So, for whatever reason, customers, they see an LS gain 90 horsepower with a cam. Kill the Dolphins, fuck the Seals, polar bears be damned, cams. And they go, well, if it went that fast on the LS, it should go faster if you put cams on a Coyote. And then I say, all you're doing is moving the power to the right, and you're killing torque. Like, this is a dumb setup. Centrifugal supercharger. 331s. A T56. E85. And a comp stage 3 cam. Boy, you want nothing to happen until 5,800 RPMs. Like when a customer goes, what do you think I should do next? And I'm like, oh, just rev it higher? What do you mean? Just rev your centrifugal higher. Well, what about cams? I don't think cams are gonna be a good idea for your setup. You want some torque, and the stock cams and the stock manifold, believe it or not, will keep some of the torque that the centrifugal naturally does not generate, even with ESS. Okay, 2 months later, hey, I bought cams. So now I know you don't fucking listen, right? You don't listen for shit. So okay, so now I'm gonna tell you, okay, here's what cams did you buy? Because you didn't ask me what cams, you just bought cams. I bought these custom cams from somewhere out west. Really? Oh, really? You bought custom one-off cams I have no fucking clue about or experience with? Yep. Why? Well, I was talking to a guy in a forum, and this guy that owns a couple of lathes hit me up, and he was like, hey, why don't you try some of these cams? They're gonna make 100 more horsepower. Cool. Then I reach out to said cam manufacturer and go, hey, genius, Where should I swing these cams to? Well, you're the tuner. Ah, so you made a set of fucking cams, put them out in the wild, asshole, and then you started telling people the tuner should know where to. Well, you're the cam manufacturer. Why don't you tell us exactly where it needs to be? Injector Dynamics, when they sell an injector, they tell us where the fucking high slope, low slope, break point, and the voltages are. Look at that. Would I buy an injector that the guy says, hey, here's an injector? Oh, cool. Where's the injector data? Aren't you a tuner? Aren't you supposed to figure it out? Oh, so you're a fuckface. Got it. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to put these cams where I think something like a Comp Cam NA 433430 should go, bitch. Didn't work? Try the stage 3 phasing. Didn't work? Try the stock phasing. Didn't work? I'm going to try stuff in between. None of it worked. It made less horsepower than a stock cam. Because if all things being equal, and I can choose, based on my knowledge, 3 different phasing, three different sets of cam angles for different RPMs, stock, comp cam stuff, vetted stuff that makes power. And none of them work. And I put that shit in the spreadsheet. And I put down what the spreadsheet tells me. And I put it in the tune, and that bitch don't make no power. Your cams suck. You should stop making cams. You understand? So when Lund Racing recommends cams, we don't recommend anything custom. Why the fuck? Why would you? Predator cams have been 6s. Stock cams have been 7s. Why would you ever get an aftermarket cam? Because you were sold on the fact with LS Logic that these will make 100 more horse. Intake cam only will make 100 more horse. Why hasn't that cam made 100 more horse ever again? You made 100 more horse with that intake only cam? Duplicate it. Duplicate it with another tuner. Tell them the cam angles and we'll see. Oh, it's bullshit. Guys, please, when it comes to parts that are vetted, listen to your tuner. Maybe not Lund, or maybe your tuner has data that we're unaware of. Some element 115 bullshit that we have no idea of how it bends gravity in front of it and it propels the car forward faster. Who the fuck knows? But usually we don't recommend cams at all. And if we do, it's a Comp Cam Stage 2. Or if it's a Gen 1, Gen 2, we prefer a Comp Cam Stage 3 NA. But Alex, I got a blower. Get a Comp Cam Stage 3 NA. No, Alex. You didn't hear me properly. I said I have a blower. Get the Comp Cam NA Stage 3 cam. Oh, look, it made more power. But comp cams are baby cams. That's golden. Don't test it. Just tell the tuner it's his problem. Well, that answers my question on my cams for my ESS. Exactly, JLT cam. Exactly. JLT is a wonderful example. Jay Tucker sold that shit. Now it's S&B's problem. He would put out a cold air intake to the wild, and then we'd say, hey, this thing is different than every single intake that is put in a car with the same part number is varying like 8 to 10%. That's not good. That's an issue with your manufacturing. Oh, you just don't know how to fucking tune. Imagine I got a set of injectors and with the same data, they were off 10%. And then I told the injector company, hey, your data on a stock car, we put one set of injectors, it's within 5%. The same car, same tune, same data, another set of that same injector part number is off 15%. Well, figure it out, tuner. And that's when you figure out that the fucking industry is trash. The hardest thing to do, I think, in my opinion, in the aftermarket is make money in this industry. You can make a lot of money in pharmaceuticals. You invent the boner pill and you're in, bro. You're good. You invent the pill that helps you do diabetes, bro, fucking awesome. In this industry, you can make something really shiny and pretty. You can make something really shiny, really pretty. Sounds like absolute butt cheeks, but it's good looking. Look at that. Wow, I can't. And then you put it in your car and it sounds like assholes. And you're like, well, it looks good. People can put stuff out there. Cams, heads, porting. There are people to this day. Where is Mr. Deontay Wilder with to this day? Do I have to this day? To this day. To this day.
To this day. To this day.
That believe porting picks up 20 horsepower. People say, Alex, send me a new tune for my ported throttle body and my ported boss intake on pump gas. No tuning needed. Whoa. I don't think you heard me properly. It was hogged out. Now there's more air going through it. So you need to tune it. Why do I need to tune it? Because it's idling at 1100 RPMs. Oh, so they ported your throttle body so much that there is now more air passing through the blade. Did they make the blade bigger? Did they make the blade bigger? What do you mean? Well, they opened up the hole. Did they make the blade bigger to account for it? No. So now you have too much air passing through that. How am I going to adjust that? You want me to falsely just lower the idle? Oh, well, I had the idle set at 815 to tune and it's idling at 1100. So you want me to hack tune it, put it at 600, so it can idle 800? Boy, this industry is full of retards. So it's very difficult to make money in this industry, especially if you're honest. I tell you, I can be a marketing genius and I can make packages that don't do a goddamn thing but put a nice sticker on the side of your car. And you'll buy it just because you think that sticker is worth something. And I'll put on parts that are run-of-the-mill bullshit. And I'll call it a package. And I'll call it this. And I'll put a number next to it. And I'll put a cute sticker next to it. And I'll jack up the price $800. As opposed to you buying those parts individually being, let's say, $1,100, I'll mark it up as a package deal to $1,800. But here's a sticker. I guarantee I'll sell about 100 or so of those packages before you guys figure out it's the same fucking parts. It's just that there's a sticker attached to it. So all I have to do is keep reinventing that bullshit. All I have to do is keep making stuff up. JLT Series 1. JLT Series 2. What? The GT350 version of the JLT became the Gen 3 JLT, the 120. The PMAS has been the PMAS, has been the PMAS. All they did was make an extension to the fender well. But the housing and the tuning has been the same since the beginning of time. No bells and whistles, no great carbon fiber dip, no paint, no nothing. Straightforward. But it looks ugly under the hood. Does it run a number? Yeah, it runs a number. Oh, but it looks ugly under the hood. If only it wasn't so ugly. I want to buy the one that looks good. So that's the most difficult part about being in this industry, is making money being honest. Exactly, Tony Dominguez. Imagine you buy a Hennessy CT5 Blackwing package and they sell you a Mantic clutch, a 2650 blower, Magnuson, heads and a cam, and charge you $50,000 when you could have built that through Alec Bledsoe for about $25,000. Labor, all in, tuning, done. And you guys buy it. There are guys right now, you know where. Hey, I want to buy, go ahead, buy Hennessy 1000 C7 package. I guarantee some of the calls that happen at Hennessy are like this.
Hello, this is Hennessy.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how can I help you?
I want 1000 C7 package. No, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I want C7 package. I want to make best running car in Dubai. Well, the 1000 horsepower packager is $100,000 on top of the car. No problem. And then they send the car. And they put on a Pro Charger with MU52s, a meth kit, and a clutch. And y'all motherfuckers get to go 1000 Hennessy package. And you get dog walked by a LS 240 with a junkyard turbo. Wuhan whistle. And all of a sudden you're like, well, what the fuck just happened? Well, you bought into the marketing. You bought into the marketing. So, whatever. Dan Degree says 460 uncorrected dyno good for NA E85 Gen 2 MTDQ, no cam. Yeah. Gen 2, 460 horse? That's tough to do. Absolutely. They just send you a bass tune and you got data log it and they call it custom. Exactly. How many, and in the whatchamacallit, the aftermarket tuning world, let's say Holly, Fuel Tech, da-da-da-da. Let's stick with Holly. I don't know much about Holly. Scott Clark does. Scott Clark chimes in once in a while. Shout out to him. But you and I both know there are people out there that add timing, move fuel around to an already vetted tune, and they swear to God they're tuners. They'll even sell shirts with the word tuning after them. How do you think YOLO douchebag tuning became a name? Think about that. Why did YOLO douchebag tuning become a name? Because everyone out there with a laptop and a vetted file, a stolen file, a sucked off file, or whatever was calling themselves tuners. And they were selling shirts with tuning on them. And I was blown away by it because in my layman language, I'm like, I don't know a lot of tuners. Why are there 20,000 tuners? Why are they staking claim of being like badass tuners? And then you bring them a combo you think is simple. I'll give you an example. Why wouldn't some tuners tune a twin 60 throttle body on a CJ Gen 2? Go. That sounds straightforward as fuck to me. Hey Alex, I got a CJ intake, LU47s, stock twin 60 from a GT500, and a JLT intake. Here you go. Here's the base, go. Some tuners go, you gotta have a mono blade or a twin 65. Explain to me why you wouldn't take that guy's money. Just explain to him that it'll make a little bit more power with the twin 65, twin 67. The mono will make the most power, but it will drive like ass, and the power is negligible. It's like 3 horse over a 67 or a 65. But there are tuners out there that will legit deny you a tune if you put in a smaller throttle body. Now, why does Lund not like CNLs, BBKs, da-da-da-da? Because we don't see any gains with them. You can slap them on. Go ahead. But when it acts up, nothing I can do will fix that thing acting up. And a lot of people are falling in love with the GT350 throttle body, not understanding that it won't work on a Gen 1 or a Gen 3. Listen, if there's a GT350 throttle body out there, an 87 millimeter, that is from a Gen 2. That is Gen 2 electronics. Just because it bolts up to a Gen 1 does not mean it'll work. It will not work. Just because it bolts up to a Gen 3 does not mean it'll work. The Gen 3 needs a bullet throttle body. Different TPS. Gen 2, you can put an 87 millimeter throttle body on anything and a 250. But you can't put that throttle body on a Gen 1. And people don't want to hear it. They go, why? Imagine you, as an expert, are telling this layman customer the 87 millimeter throttle body will not work on a Gen 1. And they say, why? Now I have to educate them. Now, instead of them saying, bet I'll get a stock one, or what do you recommend? Now there's a 30 back and forth messages explaining why that throttle body won't work on a Gen 1. Imagine I go to Ruth Chris and I say, I like a Big Mac with cheese. Thank you very much. And they're like, we don't make Big Macs here. We make steaks. We cook steaks. And then I was to say, why? And they were to say, they should say, get the fuck out of my restaurant. That's what they should say. But no, let's say they're nice. And they say, well, because we're not a fast food joint. We make quality products here. We got Wagyu this, we got this, ribeye, blah, blah, blah. Bone in, tomahawk, all this shit. We just do not serve Big Macs here. It'd be really nice if you served Big Macs here. Now, this waiter has had conversation that is costing him time, money, and patience. Calibrators and tuners mostly educate the public on what not to do. I, as a very humble man, because I am a nobody in the grand scheme of things, if I want to go sixes, I'm going to talk to motherfuckers that went sixes. And I'm going to say, what do you think I should get to go sixes? And they'll say, this, and this. Here's my money. Let's go do it. Bro, don't go Lund. I'll get you right. You know how many guys would private message other people? Oh my God, don't go Lund. I'll get you right. And how about the people that get manifolds? So when I got my MSD manifold and throttle body ported, the car felt slower. When I dialed the Camaro, I lost power. Once he tuned it again, 20 foot-pound torque went back up to where it was on wheel horsepower before porting. So what you're saying is, on a LS platform, you needed to tune it. On an LS platform that does not have widebands, you needed to tune it. We're talking Coyote here. This is a Coyote channel. Alex speaks the truth about industry. It's disgusting how tuners are out there. Lund doesn't have anything close to competition in the Ford game. When you saw the vid on the Patreon of that 6R shifting left my ass off, he later blew up the trans and blamed it on a worn out transmission. Tuners with Lund Easter eggs. What's up, Alex? Late tuning in. Shut the big truck down in Michigan. Oh, but Alex, it's a 2020 throttle body. Exactly. They chase a specific throttle body because they have all the throttle body data to copy paste. Half these scammers don't know how to add or subtract. Well, it's not that easy, a la verga tuning. You don't just add and subtract on throttle body data. That's not how it works at all. You don't just add or subtract on throttle body data. Twin 60 data is different than Twin 65 data. And it's mostly torque, pedal, and the inverse. So it's not as easy to say, well, 67 is 7 more than 60, so let me just take 7 points off of everything. But Alex, the customer's always right. I'm going to contact your boss. Lund is cool and all, but free tunes for life sounds more appealing. Alex, I saw a Dark Horse owner Facebook mixing 3 gallons of E85 with 93 to make more power. Now, Mr. Prime, they might make more power, but you understand, they are running the car lean. Look, I know way too much about max effort 24 Mustangs out there that have blown up, and nobody says nothing. And that's okay. That's okay. I understand what they're trying to do. It's old school hot rodding. Now, the 24 Mustang has the same issues an electric car has. How do you make it go faster if you can't change the power output of the engine? You make it lighter. And that's why the guys over at the Boosted Boys channel, that's what they did with their Tesla Model S Plaid. They literally made it a golf cart and it went 8s. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to buy the Gen 4 Mustang, it's a clout chasing game. It's a how much can I gut it to go faster than the next guy? Now, I'm one of those guys that is not a fan of gutting brand new cars. I'm a fan of taking advantage of the brand new car's technology. And if the car has a better transmission, better controller, better head, better cam, I want to take advantage of that in the tuning. But no, in the modern world, people are shoving 100, 150, 200 shots on 26 degrees of timing with race fuel. That's where we're at. And I'm like, I just can't. I just can't get on board with that. If they want to get on board with that, good for them. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that's going to go out there and look to be the gutting champ. Because what you're doing is you are basically proving that you are the gutting champ. You're not the tuning champ. You're not the hot rodding champ. You're the gutting champ because it's math. If a car weighs 3,800 pounds and you magically make it weigh 2,900 pounds, it's going to go quicker. I understand that. Michael Rodriguez has thoughts on the ESS 350. So, the ESS 350 is... There's going to be a couple of issues. It's already soft down low, the 350. You're going to need some nut down low to make that 350 wake up. A centrifugal is going to need to be pulleyed aggressively to make good power down low. The problem is, let's say you're on pump gas. A 8-pound ESS G3X on pump gas, because it's a 5.2, it has better flowing heads, it has better cams, and it has, let's say, 120 millimeter pulley. That blower would generate 10 or 11 pounds of boost on a Coyote. 5 liter, different heads, different cams. On a GT350 Voodoo, bigger, better heads, bigger displacement, better flowing heads, better cams. That same 3X, G3X 120 millimeter pulley will generate 8 pounds of boost. But the car will make 690 to 700 horsepower. Whereas on the Coyote, it will make about 660. So now you're reaching octane limits. That's right, you are reaching the octane limit. So now you're like, what do? I want to pulley down so it can feel good, and it doesn't feel good on the 120 millimeter pulley. So let me pulley down to the 110. Well, guess what? You got to run race gas now because you're beyond the octane limit. And that 110 millimeter pulley or 115 is going to make 730 or so rear wheel horsepower. And if you have pump gas, you're going to detonate. You're going to have an octane limitation. You're going to run into many issues. Now, I get it. You've seen people like Fat House make 800 horsepower on pump gas. I don't play that shit. Maybe Motec has different fail-safes. I don't play that game. I cut it off at the same as every other Coyote. At about 650 to 680, 9 to 10 PSI on the 350, you're going to start seeing the knock sensor get pissed off. And I don't ignore the knock sensor. A lot of people do. And on pump gas, I really listen to the knock sensor. Now, you've installed a centrifugal that has a bracket that's overhanging to the driver's side. It has a blower that's up and to the left. It has something that's spinning up above out the engine. And you're yanking on the crank a little bit. Oh, by the way, you want to pulley down and make the knock sensors are going to be pissed off. So, sorry to make a long answer. If you can afford it, get a positive displacement supercharger. A Whipple or an Odin. Or an E-Force if they make them for them. And it'll bring back the torque. The 10 PSI will make 660 to 700 on pump gas and be generally a better feeling vehicle than a centrifugal on a GT350 that's already soft down low. I'm sorry for the long answer, but I want to make sure you get very clear, concise information about that setup specifically. We're going to start seeing people cutting weight like fighters for more weight reduction. People still think the S650 have a power limited braking period and the justification, well, BMW does it. I have no hope. Better late than never. Checking in, 50 Stallion. Alex, rumor has it the S650 will end production in 2028. What do you see of the future Ford bringing? Well, you're starting to see the EV push go away, just like this channel predicted. Mary Barra from GM now said, we're not going to push EV unless the customer wants EVs. Understand this. If the customer wants an EV, now he's got 5 options at Tesla. The 3, the Y, the X, the S, the Cybertruck. So why the fuck would I buy a EV Silverado, a F-150 Lightning? Oh, it's brand loyalty. There's no other. It's not a better product. So if I'm gonna buy a Chevy, what do I want, guys? When you think Chevy, and I know this channel is different. When you think Chevy, what do you think? What's the vehicle that's in your head right now when you think Chevy or GMC? I'll tell you, It's not a hot rod. It's not a Camaro. It's nothing like that. There is one vehicle that if I wanted to buy, I'd go to General Motors. And that is the Tahoe. If I'm buying a Chevy, it's a Tahoe. That is the car people are buying nowadays. Chevy has no issue selling $100,000 or $70,000 to $100,000 Denali, Tahoe, or a Cadillac Escalade. When you think General Motors, this is what you think. I don't think Corvette. I think this is the best product Chevy puts out there, right? And when you think of Ford, you think F-150 or an F2 or 350. That's what you think when you think Ford. You think the trucks or the SUVs. You don't think the Mustang, the Maverick. No. You don't think the Raptor. No. You think a regular ass F-150 or an F-250 or F-350 is what you think when you think of Ford. So, Mary Barra is going to have to pretty much, and like everyone else, have to come to the conclusion that the only reason people are buying, the only reason Chevy is still around is for their shit-ass cars and mostly their $80,000 SUVs. If you want electric, you buy a Tesla, period. If you want a Ford, you buy an F-150 gas truck. You buy an F-250 diesel truck, F-350. Nobody looks to Ford to revolutionize electric vehicles. Tesla has done it, is doing it. Let them take the mantle. All you're doing is literally losing money on every EV you sell. Ford. I see somewhere that TIC Performance is starting to dabble with the stock Ford transmission. In your opinion, do you think they'll be compatible to Ben Calamer's transmission? Just curious. Nope. Ben Calamer has a 11-year head start. Ben Calamer has proprietary parts. The only way TIC Performance is going to compete with Ben Calamer is if he straight copies them and undercuts his prices. That's it. When you think TIC Performance, what do you think? T56. Billet front plate. Pump. TIC Performance Camaro. That's what you think when you think TIC Performance. Granis also makes transmission stuff. They're in that space. So when I think T56, sure, TIC comes to mind. But Ben Calamer does TR6060s for GT500s. Ben Calamer has been on the MT82 game since 2012. Ben Calamer's story is one of the better stories you'll ever hear. He used to work at this printing press building. On the side, he started dabbling with MT82s. He had some he was like a foreman at this printing press in Pennsylvania. He started dabbling with MT82s. He hit me up. We talked a little bit. I thought he did good work, and a lot of people said, hey, these MT82s are blowing up pretty easily. This guy builds stage 2 versions. Then he made enough money on that business that he was able to put up a big chunk of change so he could have G-Force make custom gear sets, billet stuff, and now he made a stage 3 that is comparable to T56 power standards, maybe not G-Force or PPG T56s, but for MT82, you keep your shifter, keep your drive shaft, keep. And you know what he did? Worked out of his house for a little while. The printing press place went out of business. He ran his own business. And about 4 years later, he bought the building where he worked out of. The printing press building he started his business in. He bought that building and he now operates out of that building running Calamer transmissions. And you can drive there and get your transmission removed, built whichever way you want, and send you back on the road. That's a great service. Whipple Dark Horse 2020 Plus GT500 for street shenanigans. Are you serious, Enormous Tits? Are you serious? That's not even a question. I'm not even going to answer that. That's a ridiculous thing. I'm looking for any brand for new cars I want. Everything new sucks. Penis. Aside from the Teslas. Hey, Theo, how much power do you think a Mustang GT needs to keep up with the Tesla Model 3? Currently have a Tesla rental for a week and was just wondering. They're like a 12.3 car on the street. The Model 3 Performance is like an 11.7 car. So on the street, From a dig, you do not have a shot against a Model 3 Performance. On a roll, you need about 650 wheel to about 700 wheel, and you might edge them out after 80 miles an hour when they kind of peter out. Didn't take get sold earlier this year, though? I have no idea. I go with the 6-liter Denali and still miss it every day. Read case, used, voice, text, got it. Enormous tits, go neither. Gen 2 or 6 or 80 car. He wasn't serious about that. I'm looking for a caliber 3160 when mine breaks. He built stage 1, 2, Gen 1, 2, 3 MT82s. He dabbles in 6R80. He does 3160 GT250 and 2024 GTs and TR6060s of all generations of all GT500s. I don't think he does DCT stuff yet, though. So my Tahoe with 230,000 miles. We'll get another one eventually. Cheapest plastics ever, but the engine and trans worked fine. I'm going to tow my notch with the Escalade. I towed my Fairmont. No, what did I tow up there? What did I tow up there to Lund Racing? No, not the Fairmont. I towed the Fairmont with the F-150, which is terrible. This will be the first time I tow long distance with the Escalade. And I guarantee it's going to be beautiful. And that's the reason I bought that truck specifically. It's basically a luxury Tahoe with the 6.2 and the 8-speed, which isn't great, but so far so good. And I have a warranty. 401 watching, 198 likes. Come on, guys. Hey, Alex, how's tuning those Haram? Okay, guys. Tell me, let's get you on game here. If I have a Boss intake, what do I have to change between a Boss intake, a Holley high ram with the same throttle body, a Sniper intake that doesn't leak, or an 18 manifold with the locked IMRCs? Tell me what I have to change in the tune to make that work. And it's not cam timing. You understand? You are now changing the airflow. But it's still an NA car, sucking in air. Now, you can help it along in the low end with some intake valve opening event. But generally, not much has to change. Let's take it to the next level. Let's be really, really simple about this, right? Let's say you're a retard and you locked your cams. And let's say you locked the cams at the angle that Lund said would be best. Understanding the bottom end would suffer. Understanding that it'll chop and not drive great. But understanding that at 7,500 RPMs, it's the desirable cam angle. Okay, everyone is cool with it. We tune it, no problem. And then you say, hey, Alex, I changed from a Boss manifold to a Holley high ram. What the fuck am I going to do? Now you've just changed how the air comes in. So it is mechanical at that point. It is just how the air from that manifold gets into the cylinders. Hey, I went from a Boss to an 18 manifold. You got locked cam, son. Vaya con Dios. Log it to make sure there are no leaks. So a lot of people like, oh, what do you think about tuning the Holley high ram? Do you think I have a screen like the Matrix? And I go, oh my God, it's totally different. Oh shit, behind you, Neo. Behind you, Neo. No. I don't see green up and down and I go, oh man, this Holley high ram is really something else. Look at the speed. Oh, his chart is way through the roof. What the fuck do you think happens when I tune a Holley high ram? Well, here you go. Let me try this. Let me try that. It didn't make any more power. That's it. I had a gentleman in Australia. Yes, the notch is going. No nitrous. No nitrous. Just NA. NA pump gas with a little bit of octane booster. See if I can get into the 10s. It's probably going to be like an 11.0, but I'll work my way. It's heavy. Like, I was under today. I'm like, yeah, this thing has got dynamite and shit. And I'm like, if it goes 10s, it'd be a miracle. But we'll see what it weighs. So, when I dial in a manifold, what we do is, good morning, Valley 10 speed. What we do is this. Hey, put it on the dyno. You have a hub dyno? Yep, perfect. We're going to test with it. Try this cam angle. It didn't make more power. Try this cam angle. It didn't make more power. Okay, I'm going to lock the timing to see if the cam angle is affecting it at all. Oh, look, the cam angle isn't doing a goddamn thing. Let's throw some more timing at it. That's it. That's it. How much more did it make than the CJ? -8. So, if people are out there telling you, oh, dude, this thing is up 50 horsepower over the CJ, they are lying to you. They need to sell product. I don't need to lie to you. I actually need to be honest with you because I want you to retain credibility from me. Like, I want you to think that I am looking out for your best interests. So if you were to tell me, Alex, I bought a Holly Heron. Dude, that's no good. It makes 8 less horsepower than the CJ. Cool. Have you tested it? Yup. On 3 different platforms, 3 different fucking continents, and it did the same thing. Okay, cool. Bet. I'll keep my CJ. Nope. People see a Hiram go for sale, and they buy it and sell their CJ. And why'd you do that? Wouldn't the Hiram get heat soaked worse than the CJ? Hey, Alex, how come not many people use Sean's billet intake manifold instead they use the Plasma Man one? Is it due to the price or Plasma Man better? Rosa Milano, why do you think people use the Plasma Man over the Sean's custom alloy? Sean's billet, whatever. If you see everyone that's fast running a Plasma Man and not a Sean's, and again, I don't know Sean from a hole in the wall, and I don't know Plasma Man from a hole in the wall. I'm a blower guy. But if all the fast guys got Plasma Mans, why do you think that is? Imagine you're a Plasma Man guy, right? And Sean, billet, alloy, whatever, says, hey, I will send you a free intake to try and let me know what you think. And then people keep the Plasma Man on. Why do you think that is? They don't have to publicly say it. Now, Alejandro Flores would publicly say it. Why? I'm not for sale. I don't push parts. I have independence from any sponsors, any parts manufacturer. I can sit there and say, this Whipple sucks. I can sit there and say, this JLT sucks. So, if Alejandro Flores had a Plasma Man and the car made 1180, and then I stick a Sean's and it made 1080, I'm going to say, thank you very much, Sean. See you later. I can keep it quiet, or I can be very honest about the review. And if Sean goes, keep it quiet, we're good, I'll keep it quiet. No problem. I would actually say that before he sent something. Hey, Sean, you're sending Alejandro Flores, who runs a stock 18 intake on the thing, and it made 1,080. If I put your Sean's billet on there and it doesn't make more than 1,080, I'm just not going to say shit and send it back. We good? And Sean would probably be, we good. And if I put it on there and it doesn't make more than the 18 manifold, I send it back and don't say a goddamn thing. But this is what happens. A lot of people can't afford the billet intake manifold. So, and again, I'm not saying anything negative about Sean or Plasma Man. But let's say this person reaches out to Plasma Man and says, Plasma Man. Hello, Mr. Plasma Man. I am Billy whatever. I would love to be sponsored by you. I run Texas 2K, FL2K. I run World Cup, da-da-da-da-da. I would love to run your intake. What can we work out? And Plasma Man's like, we're good. We don't need to give this away. This thing sells itself. Thank you, but no thank you. And you go, God damn it. I really want a Plasma Man on my shit. Then you send that same email to some other intake manufacturer. And that intake manufacturer says, absolutely, we will send you one. You put it on, it runs what it runs, and you say, the best intake manifold on the planet is X. Because it was given to him. That's how it works in this industry. How many of you in the VMP days saw guys switch from a TVS to a Whipple 3.0? Remember those days? Remember the days where people were running 2.3. Your favorite racer on Facebook was running a VMP Gen 2R, little 2.3, running 880s, 870s on 2.3 liters. Badass. You were like, damn, this thing is badass. Then all of a sudden he switches to Whipple. And you go, wait a minute, is Whipple better? Now that guy hasn't run a quicker number. That guy still hasn't run the car. That guy hasn't even put the car on the dyno. But he swears up and down that Whipple is better. I saw that so much at VMP that it actually made me laugh. People that had fast cars already, Gen 2Rs, a 2.3. This guy was an 880 guy, 860 guy. Whipple would reach out and say, you want to run one of our blowers? And these guys go, hell yeah. And they ran their blowers. Didn't hear from them since. Didn't hear of them running a better number. Didn't hear them making more power. Didn't hear a goddamn thing. Now, is Whipple a good product? Sure. But at that time, the front feed 2.9 was butt cheeks. At that time, they had a Gen 2 front feed 2.9 piece of shit. And the Gen 2R was mopping the floor left and right. Then the Gen 3R came out. The Gen 3 came out and it was an instant hit at big boost levels. So now the 2.9 can't compete, even though it's more displacement. Then they came out with the front feed 3.0, a huge improvement. Huge improvement over their 2.9. So I saw that whole battle back and forth and I go, oh my God, people can literally be influenced by who gives them free stuff. Now, did I fall into that? Absolutely. As a younger guy that didn't understand the industry, I fell into that trap until I said, well, all I'm doing is I'm being bought and paid for by a $200 part. No, if you want to buy my influence, that's a monthly nut, son. Joseph says, I've been on and off watching about 2 or 3 years, and each time I return, I realize how you're pretty much on the money when you speak on something. Can you be more specific? Because I'm kind of right about a lot of things. Best company to build the 10R80. Look, if you want to go by what the industry is, Midnight. If you want to go by who has the quickest, fastest 10R80 cars out there, Midnight. But understand, Midnight is working on a transmission that is not great. The 10R80 infrastructure on its own, it's not great. So, even if they build it and you put 1,500 horse through it, you're going to have to go through it sooner than later. It's just the 10R80. You're a true Coyote guru. I'm like, Andrew Sheridan, get out of here. Andrew Sheridan is not a Coyote anything. He's a Cobra guy. And he saw that there's a Coyote market and he's trying to be a Coyote expert. The guy knows nothing about Coyotes. Better for your combo doesn't mean better for mine. Who's he talking about? Alice, I'm getting a P0050 P16 P016B. What can it be? P0050 sounds familiar. P0050 sounds like an IAT issue. Oh no, heater, circuit. So, according to Google, let me Google that for you. You know what's crazy? There's this thing called Google, and if you put the code in, it magically shows up. You got an issue with your driver's side front sensor. Either wiring or the sensor is bad. So replace it. You're welcome for Googling it for you. And again, guys, that is a perfect example of a daily interaction of a tuner. Googling stuff for customers is very common. What kind of butt cheeks? I like butt cheeks. That Whipple 2.9 stuck around the LT world for so long and people still ask if the 3.0 is much of an improvement. The 3.0 is the Enterprise D, and the 2.9 is the first one, the A. Like the Enterprise D, the next generation, that's the 3.0. Now, people say, what about the 3.8? I'm not a fan of the 3.8. I'm sorry. I think the 3.8, if you spin it too fast, you got belt slip issues. I think the rotor pack doesn't love a shitload of RPM unless you get a Billy Badass race port. And guys zing them to 9,000 RPMs. But Again, we're talking streetcar, you and me, pump gas asshole shit. I think the VMP Gen 3R is the next leap if the 2.3 isn't enough. Still small enough to go get good torque down low. You would be absolutely psycho to consider a Whipple if you want to upgrade your Gen 2. Gen 2.3. The Gen 2R, sorry. If you have a Gen 2R or a Roush blower on your car, you'd be psycho to upgrade to a 3.0 Whipple. Psycho. You can literally bolt on a Gen 3R and use everything you currently have. Pulleys, cold air, and even the throttle body with a spacer. Just buy the head unit and you're done. People are out there, well, should I get the Whipple? Do you mean completely reconfigure your car to have a nominally better blower? Now, what does the Whipple have way better than any VMP product? The intercooler. The Whipple's intercooler has more surface area, it's better engineered, and IETs are good. But if you get a good heat exchanger and good cooling, and you have a race setup, my money is on a TVS under 1,200 horsepower. TVS. Now, I still want to do the test with my 4.5 liter Whipple versus a little bitty 2.6, but I got to fix the bearings on it because who knows what trouble that thing's been through. Oh, I saw ML started a podcast. They've tried. So many people start podcasts nowadays, and this is the problem with podcasts, right? You're fucking dull. You're boring. You don't say anything interesting. You don't have a personality. Do you think people want to watch a podcast of you being you? You think I run around the streets yelling like this? No, I'm quiet. Leave me the fuck alone. In real life, I'm boring as shit. But this is a show. Alex is an asshole. How do you know? Well, his show. Oh, his show? You know, Denzel Washington was a bit of an asshole in what's the name of that movie where he was a drug dealer, you know? Yeah, he was a bit of an asshole in the Enforcer 8 or whatever the fuck they call it. What the fuck? You know, in the Book of Eli, he was kind of a dick. Oh, you mean when he was entertaining you? Andrew Sheridan's a joke. Lost respect from when he got exposed for selling a 14 GT500 with 5.4, telling the buyer it was a 5.8. But did he get? You could get sued for that though. By the way, my wife hates how much she hears your voice out of the phone, but she needs to learn. Nuxo, she needs to learn that you and I are forever, and she can go at any time. Let your wife know she's replaceable. Alex is not. Just in general, yeah, I go through a lot of older videos when wrenching and stop to replay a lot. I replay a lot. Just a young guy that likes to listen to a lot of theory that's actually been applied and repeatable. I love that. I appreciate that. Look, one thing I'm not is an expert. One thing I am is experienced. I've worked for two of the bigger tuning companies, technically three. No one else has done that in this industry. No one else has worked for a supercharger company and then goes on to tune for one of the leading Coyote tune on the planet, seeing every combo possible. And based on I would say, my experience and my way of communicating, people take what I say with some heavy weight, and they're like, bro, this guy says this and it happens. And then I talk about industry stuff and and I pay a lot of attention. So I want to interview John Jr. because I know for a fact, I know he did a Bugatti Studios thing, so he's going to, once he airs that, I'll let him do that. John Jr., you need to talk to him a certain way. John Sr., you need to talk to him a certain way. How many of you guys saw the Alec Bledsoe interview where it wasn't live, and you learned so much about LS&LT stuff? There's a certain way you got to talk to certain people to bring the best out of them. That's a talent. That's just based on dealing with people for 45 years. So if someone starts a podcast, have a personality, have an angle, be entertaining. Don't just be yourself, because 9 times out of 10, you're boring as shit and no one gives a fuck what you got to say. Which intercooler is better for the Gen 2R, the Gen 3R, the VMP, or the 1314? What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Which intercooler is better for the Gen 2R? The Gen 2R, I don't know if they sell a bigger upgrade. Again, I left the VMP stuff a long time ago. I don't know that they have a intercooler that I see that it's noticeably better. Most of the times, superchargers that are on top of the intercooler run hotter than upside down superchargers. Here's for the Glizzy on the road tomorrow. Have fun in the coupe. Thank you so much. Christian Cano says, hey Alex, Gen 2 for MT82 Street Car TBS Twin Turbo. What's TBS? Oh, TVS. Well, I'm never going to go against turbo, especially on a stick car. Christian Cano, the proper size turbo can be a lot of fun on the street. So out of those two, turbo. Now, understand this. Turbos are a lot more work. Turbos require more maintenance. Turbos have more shit going on under the hood. This can crack. The hot side can crack. Vibration. A lot of shit can happen with turbos. TVS, the OEMs use TVSs. Roush, Magnuson, Chevy, all these guys have used a rotor pack from Eaton 2300, and it's not been an issue generally. Every Tuesday, you may regret buying a 10R80. Training day is a classic ride. Training, Denzel Washington's a dick. Why? Because on training day, Alex is a dick. On talking shit, Tuesday, he talks a lot of shit. Unreal. Alex says Mr. Prime 26. Fucking thing. When making 900 horsepower on the Gen 3, what are the weaknesses of the motor? So, in my opinion, the biggest weak point of the Gen 3 is the ring land. I used to think the rod, but I think it all starts at the piston. When you look at a Gen 3, it was never built for boost. So the ring gap was not properly sized for boost, for the proper expansion. So it's an NA ring gap. I think one problem chases the other. I think a lot of the failures is because it happened to me on my car, but I caught it. The moment the ringland went, I knew it. Ringland went and it overpressurized the crankcase and it blew out the rear main seal. And I went, uh-oh, that's not right. So let me park this bitch and do a compression check, and sure enough, found out the issue. So I think some people go, hey, I got oil coming out of my breather. Is that a problem? And they just keep racing. And eventually that ringland overpressurizing the crankcase, rods don't like that, it becomes an issue. So I think on a Gen 3, it's going to be the ringland. Speaking of podcasts, I found you through Cooper's podcast. That's a good episode. The Cooper Spaghetti podcast with me in it. Given the fact that I'm a nobody, if you look at the amount of people that have watched it, over 180,000 views. Now, the only one that has as much is Sam the Waxer, the Polisher, and Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cletus. And maybe the Boosted Boys or something. But I'm a nobody in that space. Like, in other words, in the grand scheme of things, those people have the Garrett umbrella. The Garrett umbrella is Cooper, Sam the Polisher, and Garrett himself. Me showing up talking EPA stuff for 3 hours was something I knew might have happened, but I had to kind of go in there knowing that I kind of have to lead the conversation. Luckily, Cooper did a great job bouncing back and forth. It was like playing tennis. So it was an easy thing to do. Would I do it again? Probably not. Because I don't think I'm going to gain anything from it. I think his audience is different, and there's a brand I want to kind of protect here. So I'm nothing against him. I just don't want to be 1 degree separated from the Garrett umbrella. Was it Two Guns or Denzel or the drug deal where he was running drugs for the cartel with Mark Wahlberg? Just ask Dakota, turbos versus blower. Dakota will say blower all day. What's the weak point of a $515 illuminator from Jegs? You're not going to get it. Halfway through a turbo install, wish you got a TVS. Ask me how I know. There you go. Alex, it's the third car this week on the ESS forum to throw a rod. They all seem to be on the 100mm pulley or smaller. Again, ringland issue. If you think you can go 100mm pulley and not hurt the motor, you're psycho. You are effectively tripling the horsepower of the car with the ESS G3X E85 100mm pulley, probably making 1,000. If you have it, listen to me right now. Everyone that has an ESS supercharged G3X on their Gen 2 or Gen 3 Mustang, keep it under 850 horsepower. Under. If you want the thing to last a long time, under 850 horsepower. If you want to go racing and you can afford another motor, put a 100 millimeter or 95 millimeter. Go ahead. Understand this. That's not safe. A lot of people say, what's safe horsepower for a Coyote? Gen 2 and up, Gen 850 and under. Anything above that. I just had a gentleman, GT350, Gen 1 GT350, so a 17. He says, hey, Alex, I want to go from a 3.8 Whipple upper to a 3.5. I said 3 sizes. You could get a 3.7, 3.6, or a 3.5. You want to go to a 3.5. Do you have enough money to replace that motor? I could have said, yeah, bolt it on. It's going to make power. Send me a log. Again, educating the customer is 80% of my job. So I said, you are now going to be touching 875 to 900 rear wheel horsepower on a Gen 1 Voodoo. Will it make that power? Yes. For how long? Who knows? If I were you, 850 and under is the sweet spot, just like Nightmare One says for a lot of Ford V8s. How heavy is the notch? Any idea? And want to say that thing made like 400 to 460? It made 460 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. So, if I cut a 1.560 foot and hit my shifts, the car should go 1099 at high 120s or something. What's the highest mileage boosted Coyote Lund has tuned? Over 100,000 miles. There's a guy in Palm Beach County, doesn't race, doesn't hoon, just drives a supercharged, Roush supercharged Gen 1, 120,000 miles. Over 70,000 miles of those have been boosted. Again, doesn't tap the limiter, doesn't do hoon and shit. He just drives it with an 82 millimeter pulley on pump gas and MU52s, and the car is insanely clean. Black, beautiful, nice red inserts, great wheels, beautiful interior. The guy maintains that car. Over 100,000 miles in that car. Does Dakota's Boss 302 still have the same MTD2? Ben Calamer Stage 3 MTD2. He's selling it, by the way, the car. That's 900 horsepower with a 100 millimeter pulley. Got to be ready for a motor popping. I agree. So above a 50 wheel, it's just a crank sprocket OPG, but what would you do? Rods, pistons? No. I don't know if this guy hears my show at all. You don't need a crank sprocket and oil pump gears. Look, guys, I love you. If you're going to upgrade your oil pump gears, get like Ford Racing stuff. I don't even know how to say this without saying it. Because, you know, certain companies like to be a little litigious, if you know what I'm saying. I see all the parts houses selling a certain oil pump gear brand. And I go, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, you could either take it from me or not, based on my years of experience and what I've seen in the ticket system and thousands of cars that I've tuned. If you're going to buy oil pump gears, you buy Ford Racing stuff. The GT500 said, I think, you could buy it with the oil pump. If I'm not mistaken, you could buy an oil pump gear from a GT500 with the pump. And that's like billet shit from Ford Racing itself. And the Ford Racing crank sprocket. But Alex, it's more expensive. Really? How many GT500 oil pump failures have you seen? How many GT500 crank sprocket failures have you seen? So, it's not just rods and pistons. You got to understand, if you're going to go... See, get this thought out of your head that you're going to put rods and pistons in a Coyote. Get it out of your head. You're going to take your Coyote out, send your motor somewhere, and have them put rods and pistons, balance everything, make sure everything's honed and pretty? No. You're going to take your motor out and you're going to sell it. And you're going to buy a Ford Racing Illuminator or an RPG or an FFRE or an L&M short block. That's what you're going to do 85% of the time. I can't see how anyone can drive with more than 800 horsepower. My Hellcat has good performance tires on stock 20s with a flex tune, and it completely obliterates the tires 40 to 60 roll. Wow, so Notch still makes more torque than horsepower. Correct. I didn't expect that. I wonder if you could still make the power NA. Not that it's worth chasing more. I probably could, Elver Galarga, if I got it. This is the problem. If I want to make more horsepower with the Notch That means I have to sacrifice torque. That means I have to move the power curve to the right. That means I have to change the camshaft. That means the rotating assembly has to be robust enough to take 7,500 RPM revs. I'm not willing to rev it that high. I'd rather just throw nitrous on it. Stupid question for 85 on a 12 GT500. Are my 1050Xs going to be enough, or should I upgrade to 1300s? On a 12 GT500, you need not only bigger pumps from a 13 to 14 GT500, twin booster pumps, but 1050Xs should be fine up to about 800 horsepower. Man, I wait with anticipation every week for this. I feel bad for all the people that have certain brand OPGs in their car. And you know what? That's fine. It's marketing. It's marketing. They get it for a very cheap price. I guarantee if I'm a parts house and I get a certain brand oil pump gear for my cost $130, but I can sell it to you for $320 out the door, that's the one I'm going to sell because I am into making money. But Alejandro Flores wants you to have the best shit. The best shit is already out there, and it's on GT500s. Do some research. Check how much the pump and oil pump gears from a 2020 GT500 is, and that crank sprocket. See if it fits your combination. And vaya con Dios. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Kristen Jones says, tell my husband, Ian Martha, his Mustang is slow. It is slow, Kristen Jones. And tell your husband to stop buying fucking cars. He's going to end up with an Altima, and you guys are going to buy properties, and sooner or later, you're going to get baby rabies. You're going to want to have babies. So all that fishing, all that car bullshit he's doing, he's going to eventually end up with a baby and a house. So all this car shit, tell him to knock it off. He ain't racing nobody. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a little bit. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to the track in the morning. So if I'm tuning you tomorrow, it might be delayed in replying. It'll be a morning rental. I'll be back at night. I will not be doing a dating channel tomorrow. Sorry, I'm going to be driving 6 hours and racing at the track. So I'll try to get you a supplemental show or video somewhere in there. But I'll be back on Thursday, let you know how everything went. And then we'll catch up then. We'll see if the Grey Goose resets the 6R80 record. We're going to do some 8th stuff. If the 8th looked good, we're going to run it out the back and see what that bitch does. It's going to be a good time, hopefully, at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with me. Appreciate you very much. I'll see you guys on Thursday for YDBT Daily. See you later. Bye.